The cold slap of betrayal stings worse than any physical blow. It's the text message on my wife's phone that sets my world spinning. Last night was unforgettable. Can't wait to see you again. The words glare at me like neon lights, a siren alerting me to the disaster my marriage has become. I'm Kevin, and for 10 years, I thought I had built a fortress of love and trust with my wife, Amanda. But this is a wrecking ball to everything I believed. She steps out of the shower, humming a tune, oblivious to the storm brewing in my chest. I grip the phone tighter, every muscle in my body taut with rage. "Who's James?" I ask, my voice a low growl. Her head snaps up, her face a perfect mask of confusion. What are you talking about?" I hold up the phone, the incriminating message displayed for her to see. Her eyes widen, and for a moment, I catch it, the flicker of guilt before she slips into defense mode. "It's not what it looks like," she stammers, reaching for the phone, but I step back, keeping it out of her reach. "Not what it looks like?" I echo, my voice rising. "Then what is it, Amanda? Tell me why another man is talking about how unforgettable last night was." Her silence is deafening. She crosses her arms, her lips pressed into a thin line, and I know she's scrambling for an excuse. My hands tremble, not from fear, but from the sheer force of holding back my anger. I can't explode, not yet. Not until I have all the pieces of the puzzle. "I trusted you," I say, each word cutting like a blade. "But clearly, I was a fool." She finally speaks, her tone defensive. "Kevin, you've been so busy with work lately. I've been lonely, and James is just a friend who listens." "Listens?" I laugh bitterly. Friends don't send texts like this. The room feels suffocating, the air thick with tension. She opens her mouth, but I raise a hand to stop her. "I don't need more lies, not now. Here's how this is going to go," I say, my voice cold and steady. "You're going to tell me everything, when it started, how long it's been going on, and why you thought you could humiliate me like this. And if you even think about lying," I pause, letting the weight of my words hang between us, "I'll make sure karma deals with you harder than I ever could." Her face pales, and I know she understands I mean every word. For the first time, fear flickers in her eyes. Good. She should be scared. "Talk," I command, my voice firm, "or I'll start digging myself. And trust me, Amanda, you won't like what I find." Amanda stares at me, her face a mix of defiance and fear. "Fine," she mutters, her voice barely above a whisper. "You want the truth? James and we've been seeing each other for a few months. It started after one of your late nights at work." I feel my fists clench involuntarily, but I force myself to stay calm. Her words are daggers, each one carving away at the life I thought we had. "A few months? That's not a moment of weakness. That's a full-blown affair." "Where?" I demand. My voice is sharp, leaving no room for argument. "Where do you meet him?" Her eyes dart to the floor. "Hotels," she admits. "Sometimes his place." The bile rises in my throat, but I swallow it down. "And last night?" I press. "Was that another meeting with James?" "Yes," she whispers, her voice breaking. "I'm sorry, Kevin. I didn't mean for it to go this far." I shake my head in disbelief. "You didn't mean for it to go this far? Amanda, you had choices. And every time you answered his texts, every time you met him, you made another choice to betray me." She collapses onto the bed, her face in her hands. I watch her cry, but I feel nothing. Not pity, not sadness, just cold resolve. This isn't just about me anymore. She tore apart the life we built, and I'm not going to let her walk away unscathed. "You think saying sorry will fix this?" I say, my voice icy. "It doesn't even scratch the surface. Do you have any idea what you've done?" "I'll end it," she pleads, looking up at me with tear-streaked cheeks. "I'll cut all ties with him, Kevin. Please, just give me a chance." I let her words hang in the air for a moment before responding. "Oh, you'll end it, all right," I say. "But not for me. You'll end it because karma is already knocking on your door. And when it hits, Amanda, I want you to remember this moment." Her confusion is evident, but I don't elaborate. Instead, I turn and walk out of the bedroom. My mind is already racing with plans. Every betrayal deserves consequences, and I'm going to ensure hers come with a vengeance. I grab my phone and scroll through my contacts. I stop at a name that hasn't crossed my mind in years. Ryan? He's an old friend, a tech genius who specializes in finding the skeletons people hide online. If Amanda thinks she's going to get away with this, she's about to learn how wrong she is. I send Ryan a quick message. Need your help. It's personal. Can we meet? Moments later, his reply comes through. You know I'm in. Let's talk tonight. I smirk, feeling the first flicker of satisfaction since this nightmare began. Amanda doesn't know it yet, but her perfect little world is about to crumble. Later that evening, I sit in a dimly lit coffee shop, my leg bouncing with restless energy. Ryan arrives right on time, his trademark leather jacket slung over one shoulder and a sly grin on his face. You look like a man on a mission, he says, sliding into the seat across from me. What's going on? I hesitate for a moment, then lay it all out. The betrayal, the texts, and Amanda's confession. Ryan listens intently, his expression darkening as I speak. So, what do you want to do? He asks, leaning forward. Expose her? Burn this James guy to the ground? Or something else? All of it, I say without hesitation. I want her to feel the weight of her choices. I want her to understand what it means to betray someone who trusted her. And I want James out of the picture, permanently. Ryan nods, his grin returning. You've come to the right guy. Let's start with James. What do you know about him? Not much, I admit. Just his first name, and that they've been meeting at hotels. Ryan pulls out his laptop, the glow of the screen illuminating his face. Give me her phone, he says, and I hand it over. Let's see if she's careless enough to leave any breadcrumbs. Within minutes, he's scrolling through a list of numbers. He finds James's contact and starts cross-referencing it with online databases. I watch in awe as he works, his fingers flying over the keyboard. Got him, Ryan says, spinning the laptop to face me. On the screen is a social media profile. James Parker, mid-30s, a regional sales manager for some mid-level tech company. The smug grin in his profile picture makes my blood boil. Looks like he's married, Ryan adds, clicking through the profile. Wife and 2 kids. Perfect little suburban life. I lean back in my chair, a plan forming in my mind. So, he's got just as much to lose as Amanda, I say. Good. Ryan smirks. Want me to dig deeper? See if he's hiding anything else? Do it, I say. The more leverage we have, the better. Over the next hour, Ryan uncovers everything from James's work history to his questionable online activity. Turns out, Mr. Perfect has a habit of messaging women on dating apps, despite his picture-perfect family. This guy's a walking time bomb, Ryan says, closing his laptop. You want to confront him? Or let his wife in on the fun? I'll decide soon, I say, my mind racing. But first, I need to handle Amanda. She needs to understand just how far this has gone. Ryan nods, standing up and stretching. Whatever you need, man. Just say the word. As he leaves, I sit in the coffee shop for a while longer, staring at the notes Ryan left me. Amanda's betrayal is no longer just a wound. It's a weapon, one I'm going to use to ensure she never forgets the choices she made. When I finally head home, Amanda is sitting on the couch, her face puffy from crying. She looks up as I walk in, hope flickering in her eyes. Kevin, she starts, her voice trembling. I've been thinking about everything, and I want to make this right. I'll do anything. I cross my arms, staring down at her. Good, I say coldly, because the first thing you're going to do is pack your things. This isn't your home anymore. Her mouth falls open, shock replacing the hope. You can't be serious. Oh, I'm dead serious, I interrupt. And trust me, Amanda, this is just the beginning. Amanda's face turns pale, and her lip trembles as she stares at me. Kevin, please, let's talk about this. I'll do whatever it takes to fix things. Fix things? I laugh, the sound cold and hollow. Amanda, you didn't accidentally trip and fall into an affair. You made deliberate choices to lie, to cheat, and to humiliate me. Now you're going to deal with the consequences. She starts to cry again, but I'm unmoved. You have until tomorrow morning to pack up and leave, I say. And don't think about going to James's house. I know more about him than you think, and you don't want me sharing what I know with his wife. Her eyes widen in shock. You wouldn't. Try me, I reply, my voice steady and firm. You made your bed, Amanda. Now you get to lie in it. I turn and head upstairs, slamming the bedroom door behind me. My heart is pounding, adrenaline surging through my veins. I hate how much this hurts, but I refuse to let her see me crumble. This is about reclaiming my dignity, my life. That night, I barely sleep. My mind churns with plans, scenarios, and the lingering sting of betrayal. When morning finally comes, I head downstairs to find Amanda sitting on the couch, her suitcase by the door. I hope you're happy, she says bitterly, her voice hoarse from crying. You've destroyed everything. No, Amanda, I say, shaking my head. You destroyed everything. I'm just cleaning up the mess. She grabs her suitcase and heads for the door, pausing to look back at me one last time. You'll regret this, Kevin, she says, her tone venomous. Maybe, I reply, but not as much as you'll regret betraying me. She slams the door behind her, and I'm left standing in the silence of the house we once shared. For a moment, I feel the weight of it all, the broken promises, the shattered trust. But then I remind myself that this is just the beginning. Amanda may be out of the house, but her reckoning is far from over. Later that day, I meet Ryan again, this time at his small tech office. He's already got a folder waiting for me, filled with everything he's dug up on James. This guy's a real piece of work, Ryan says, handing me the folder. Cheating on his wife, shady deals at work, and a habit of sending inappropriate texts to women he barely knows. Honestly, you could take him down 10 different ways. I flip through the pages, a grim satisfaction building inside me. Let's start with his wife, I say. She deserves to know who she's married to. Ryan nods, pulling out his phone. Already got her number. Want me to send her everything? No, I say. I'll handle it. This is personal. That evening, I draft an email to James's wife, attaching the evidence Ryan gathered. It's not just about revenge, it's about justice. She deserves the truth, just like I did. As I hit send, a sense of finality washes over me. The wheels are in motion, and there's no turning back. The next day, my phone buzzes with a new message. It's from Amanda. We need to talk, it reads. I stare at the screen, my jaw tightening. If she thinks she can manipulate her way back into my life, she's in for a rude awakening. I let the message from Amanda sit for hours, unread. I won't rush to respond. She doesn't get to dictate the pace anymore. While I wait, I focus on my next move. This isn't just about Amanda and James. It's about rebuilding my life on my terms. Around mid-afternoon, my phone buzzes again. Another message from Amanda. Please, Kevin, just hear me out. I finally type a response. Say what you need to say, but don't expect sympathy. Moments later, the phone rings. I answer, but I don't bother with pleasantries. Talk. Her voice is shaky. Kevin, I know I messed up, but I've been thinking, and I want to come clean. I'll tell you everything. No more lies. Convenient timing, I reply, my tone dripping with sarcasm. You suddenly want to confess after I throw you out? This isn't easy for me, she says, her voice breaking. I'm trying to make it right. I laugh bitterly. Amanda, making it right would have been choosing not to cheat in the first place. But go ahead, tell me your version of the truth. She takes a deep breath. It started a few months ago. James and I were working on a project together, and things just happened. I didn't mean for it to go so far, Kevin. I swear. You didn't mean for it to go so far? I echo. So, what? The first time you met him in a hotel, that was an accident? The second time? The third? She's silent for a moment, and then I hear her sniffle. I was stupid, okay? I let things spiral out of control, but I never stopped loving you. I let out a harsh laugh. Love? Amanda, love doesn't look like betrayal. Love doesn't destroy the person you promised to be faithful to. I want to fix this, she says desperately. I'll go to therapy. I'll do whatever it takes. No, I say firmly. You've already done enough. And if you're looking for forgiveness, Don't hold your breath. I hang up, my hand shaking with anger. I refuse to let her manipulate me back into her web of lies. She made her choices, and now she'll face the consequences. That evening, I get an email reply from James's wife. The subject line is simple: "Thank you for this." I open it, and her words are as raw as mine had been. "I had no idea this was happening. Thank you for sharing the truth with me. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but at least now I can make informed decisions. If you ever need to talk, I'm here." I sit back, the satisfaction mingling with a lingering bitterness. Amanda and James might have thought they could play their games without consequences, but they were wrong. I've torn the curtain away, and now everyone can see them for who they truly are. The next day, I receive another message, this time from Amanda's lawyer. It's official. She's already trying to negotiate terms for the divorce. I smirk, my resolve strengthening. She thinks this is over, but it's far from finished. The email from Amanda's lawyer sits in my inbox like a challenge. I skim through it, noting her requests: half of the house, spousal support, and a significant portion of my savings. It's laughable, really. She betrays me, and now she thinks she's entitled to my hard-earned money? I forward the email to my own lawyer, attaching a note: "No concessions." She gets nothing more than what's legally required. Push back on everything else. Within an hour, my lawyer, Dan, calls. "Kevin, I'll make this as painless as possible, but you know divorces can get messy. Are you ready for that?" "Messy doesn't scare me," I reply. "Just make sure she doesn't walk away with more than she deserves." "Understood," he says. "And don't engage directly with her or her lawyer. Let me handle everything." As I hang up, a sense of clarity washes over me. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about protecting what's mine and ensuring I come out of this stronger. Later that evening, as I'm sorting through paperwork, my phone buzzes again. It's James's wife, Emily. Curious, I answer. "Hi, Kevin," she says, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. "I just wanted to thank you again for telling me the truth." "You didn't deserve to be in the dark," I reply. "None of us did." "I've already confronted James," she continues. "He denied it at first, but when I showed him the evidence, he couldn't backpedal fast enough. He's staying at a hotel now, and I've started filing for divorce." I nod, even though she can't see me. "Good. You deserve better." "And so do you," she says. "If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here." "Thanks, Emily." "Same to you." We hang up, and for the first time in weeks, I feel a glimmer of hope. Not everything is broken beyond repair. Some things, like integrity and self-respect, can still be salvaged. The next morning, I head to the gym, needing to channel my energy somewhere productive. As I push through my workout, I can feel the weight of the past few weeks lifting, replaced by a newfound determination. I'm not just surviving this, I'm thriving. When I return home, there's another message waiting for me. This time, it's from Amanda herself. "We need to talk. Please, Kevin, I'm begging you." I delete it without replying. She's had her chance to talk, and she squandered it with lies. Now, I'm focused on moving forward, without her. The days blur together as I throw myself into rebuilding my life. Each step forward feels like a small victory. Changing the locks, reorganizing the house to erase her presence, even finally sleeping through the night without waking up in a cold sweat. Amanda is out of sight, but her attempts to worm her way back into my life haven't stopped. Another email lands in my inbox from her. "Kevin, I can't stop thinking about us. Please, can we meet and talk? Just one last time." I shake my head, the nerve of her astounding me. Does she really think she can talk her way out of this? I delete the email and block her address. She's had every chance to explain, and all she's done is dig herself deeper. The next day, my lawyer calls with updates. Amanda's lawyer has sent another settlement offer, Dan says. She's willing to forego spousal support if you agree to let her keep the house. I laugh, the sound bitter. The house? The one I paid for? She can dream. That's what I thought, Dan replies. I'll push back. As I hang up, my phone buzzes again. It's a number I don't recognize, but I answer out of curiosity. Kevin, it's James, a voice says. My grip tightens on the phone. Of all the people, He's the last one I want to hear from. What do you want? I ask, my voice cold. To apologize, he says. Look, man, I messed up. I got caught up in something I shouldn't have, and I want to make things right. Make things right? I echo, incredulous. You slept with my wife. There's no making that right. I know, he says quickly, but I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I ended things with Amanda. It's over. Good, I say flatly. But don't think for a second that we're even. Your life is about to get a lot more complicated. Before he can respond, I hang up. I don't need his apologies. They're worth less than the air he used to speak them. Later that evening, as I'm sitting on the couch, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's a text from Emily. Thought you'd want to know. James just got served. Divorce papers are official. I can't help but smile. Karma has a way of balancing the scales, and James is finally getting his due. The next day, I take a step I've been dreading but know is necessary. I set up an appointment with a therapist. This isn't just about moving on from Amanda. It's about understanding how I got here and making sure I never end up in this position again. The therapist, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, listens patiently as I unload the story. You've been through a lot, she says when I finish, but you're taking the right steps to heal. This isn't just about what Amanda did. It's about reclaiming your sense of self. I leave the session feeling lighter, as if a weight I didn't even realize I was carrying has been lifted. This isn't the end of the road. It's the beginning of a new chapter. The following weeks bring a strange sense of peace. Amanda's persistent attempts to contact me have ceased, likely thanks to my lawyer making it clear that all communication must go through him. For the first time in what feels like ages, my life is quiet. It's not without its challenges. There are moments when the loneliness creeps in, when the silence of the house feels more oppressive than comforting, but it's a start. One evening, as I'm sitting on the porch with a beer in hand, my phone buzzes. It's a message from Emily. Thought you'd like to know. James has been fired. Apparently, one of his coworkers found out about his extracurriculars and tipped off HR. I laugh, the sound breaking the stillness of the evening. It's poetic justice, really. James built his life on lies and deceit, and now it's all crumbling around him. I type back, thanks for the update. Seems karma's working overtime these days. Her reply comes quickly. It always does. How are you holding up? For a moment, I hesitate. Emily has been nothing but supportive since this all began, but I can't shake the feeling that opening up too much might make things more complicated. Still, I decide to be honest. Better. Slowly rebuilding. How about you? Same, she replies. It's not easy, but it's worth it. We exchange a few more messages, and I'm surprised at how easy it is to talk to her. There's no awkwardness, no pressure. Just two people who've been through hell and are finding their way back to solid ground. The next day, I meet with my lawyer again. Dan is as sharp as ever, laying out the latest developments in the divorce proceedings. She's agreed to split the house's equity rather than keeping it outright, he says, flipping through a stack of papers. And she's dropped her request for spousal support. Good, I say, nodding. Anything else I need to know? There's one more thing, he says, his expression turning serious. She's requesting a meeting with you. Says she wants to apologize in person. I scoff. Apologize? What's the point? That's up to you, Dan says. You don't have to agree, but sometimes hearing an apology face-to-face can bring closure. I think about it for a moment. Part of me wants to slam the door on any interaction with Amanda, but another part, the part that's still raw and aching, wants to hear her say the words. Set it up, I say finally, but it's on my terms. Dan nods, jotting down a note. Understood. I'll let her lawyer know. The meeting is scheduled for the following week at a neutral location, a conference room at Dan's office. As the day approaches, I find myself torn between anticipation and dread. I don't know what Amanda expects to achieve, but I do know one thing. I won't let her manipulate me again. When the day arrives, I walk into the room with my head held high. Amanda is already there, looking nervous and small in a way I've never seen before. She stands as I enter, but I stay where I am, keeping the table between us. Kevin, she begins, her voice shaky. Thank you for meeting with me. Get to the point, I say, my tone flat. Why am I here? She swallows hard, then takes a deep breath. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I needed you to hear it. For a moment, I say nothing, letting her words hang in the air. Then, finally, I reply, "You're right, you don't deserve it, but I appreciate the apology." Her eyes widen slightly, as if she wasn't expecting me to say that. "I know I can't undo what I've done," she says, her voice breaking, "but I hope you can find some peace." "I already am," I say simply. "And that's the difference between us, Amanda. You're still looking for validation from other people. I'm building my own life." Her shoulders sag, and she nods. "I wish you the best, Kevin." "You too," I say, though the words feel hollow. As I leave the room, I feel a strange mix of emotions: relief, sadness, and, most of all, a sense of finality. Amanda's chapter in my life is truly over, and for the first time, I'm ready to write the next one. Leaving the meeting with Amanda, I feel a weight lifting off my shoulders. The apology didn't erase what she had done, but it marked the end of an era, a clean break from the life I once knew. Now, it's time to focus entirely on the future. The next few weeks are a whirlwind of activity. I finalize the divorce proceedings with Dan's help, ensuring Amanda walks away with as little as legally possible. The house is officially mine, and I waste no time in giving it a fresh start. A coat of paint, new furniture, and some rearranging. It's amazing how these small changes make the space feel like my own again. One Saturday morning, as I'm installing a new shelf in the living room, my phone buzzes. It's a message from Emily. "Free for coffee? I could use some company." I pause, considering. Emily has been a surprising source of support through all of this, but I hadn't expected her to reach out so casually. Still, I realize I could use the break. "Sure. Where and when?" I reply. "We meet at a cozy cafe downtown, and the moment I see her, I can tell she's been through as much upheaval as I have. But there's a spark in her eyes, a resilience that mirrors my own. We settle into a corner booth, the aroma of fresh coffee enveloping us. "How are you holding up?" I ask after we order. She sighs, stirring her latte. "It's been tough, but I'm managing. The kids are the hardest part. They're old enough to understand something's wrong, but not old enough to fully grasp it." I nod, sympathizing. "It's a lot to deal with, but you're stronger than you think." She smiles, a flicker of warmth breaking through the exhaustion. "What about you? How's the fresh start treating you?" "Better every day," I say honestly. "The house feels like mine now, and I'm starting to remember what it's like to enjoy my own company." We talk for hours, the conversation flowing easily. There's no pretense, no awkwardness, just two people sharing their stories and finding comfort in a shared experience. By the time we leave, I feel lighter, as if a piece of the burden I've been carrying has been lifted. As I drive home, I can't help but smile. Emily has been a lifeline in more ways than one, and for the first time in a long time, I feel a sense of hope, not just for myself, but for the connections I might build moving forward. The next day, I dive back into my routine, throwing myself into work and hobbies. I take up running again, something I hadn't done in years. It's cathartic, pounding the pavement as the sun rises, the rhythm of my footsteps grounding me in the present. Weeks turn into months, and slowly but surely, my life takes shape. Amanda becomes a distant memory, a chapter closed and filed away. Emily and I stay in touch, meeting occasionally for coffee or a walk in the park. There's no rush, no expectations, just two people learning how to navigate their new realities. One evening, as I sit on the porch watching the sunset, my phone buzzes. It's Emily again, this time with a simple message: "Thank you for being there." I type back, "Same to you. One day at a time, right?" Her reply comes almost instantly, "Exactly, and we're doing just fine." For the first time in years, I feel a genuine sense of peace. The past may have been painful, but it's behind me now. The future is wide open, and I'm ready to embrace it, one step at a time. Months have passed, and the pieces of my life are starting to fall into place. I've grown accustomed to the quiet of the house and have found joy in small things again. Morning runs, cooking for myself, even tackling a few DIY projects that had been on my list for years. Amanda's name rarely crosses my mind now, and when it does, it's with a distant detachment, like a character in a book I once read. Emily and I continue to meet occasionally. There's a natural ease between us, no pressure or expectations. It's refreshing to talk to someone who understands the pain of betrayal without judgment or pity. Over time, our casual coffee meetups evolve into longer conversations and shared laughter, a flicker of something deeper taking root. One Friday evening, she invites me over for dinner. Her kids are spending the weekend with her parents, and she insists it's just two friends sharing a meal. I accept, curious to see this new chapter in her life up close. Her home is warm and inviting, filled with personal touches that speak to her resilience. As she serves dinner, I notice how comfortable I feel here, as if this place is a sanctuary not just for her, but for anyone she welcomes into her life. "Thanks for coming," she says, sitting across from me. "It's nice to have company that doesn't come with drama." I chuckle. "I'll take that as a compliment." "It is," she replies with a smile. "We've both been through enough to appreciate the simple things." The evening passes in a blur of conversation and laughter. For the first time in a long time, I feel a spark of something I thought I'd lost, connection. As I leave, she hugs me, and it feels natural, unforced. It lingers in my mind long after I drive away. The next day, I meet Ryan for a beer. He's been checking in on me periodically, making sure I'm staying on track. I tell him about dinner with Emily, and he raises an eyebrow. "Sounds like things are getting serious," he says. I shake my head. "It's not like that. We're just friends." "Uh-huh," he says, smirking. "Friends who have dinner, laugh, and hug." "Sure." I roll my eyes but don't argue. The truth is, I don't know what's happening between Emily and me, and for now, I'm okay with that. Later that week, I get a call from Dan. "Everything's finalized," he says. "You're officially a free man." I exhale deeply, the weight of the last year finally lifting. "Thanks, Dan. I owe you one." "You owe yourself," he replies. "You handled this with grace and strength. Not everyone can say that." I hang up, feeling a surge of pride. The chapter with Amanda is closed, and it's time to fully embrace what's ahead. That weekend, Emily invites me to join her for a hike. It's a crisp autumn day, the leaves vibrant shades of red and gold. We walk in comfortable silence at times, talking easily at others. At one point, she stops and turns to me. "Kevin," she says, her tone serious. "I just want you to know how much your friendship has meant to me. I don't know how I would have gotten through these last few months without you." I smile, feeling a warmth I haven't felt in years. "Same here. You've been my anchor in all of this." She nods, her expression softening. "So, here's to new beginnings." To new beginnings, I echo, and for the first time, I feel like I truly mean it. The hike with Emily lingers in my mind for days. There was something in her tone, in the way her words felt more than just casual gratitude. I replay her smile, her warmth, and the way she looked at me when she said, "Here's to new beginnings." It wasn't flirtatious or romantic. It was genuine, like a lifeline offered by someone who understands what it means to rebuild from the ground up. I throw myself into work the next week, taking on a new project that challenges me in all the right ways. The satisfaction of progress, both personal and professional, keeps me focused, but Emily's presence is never far from my thoughts. On Friday, she texts me again. "How about dinner at my place? My kids want to meet the cool guy I've been talking about." I laugh out loud at the message, realizing I'm actually looking forward to it. Her kids are 10 and 12, and from what little I've heard, they're sharp, funny, and fiercely protective of their mom. Meeting them feels like a big step, but one I'm ready to take. When I arrive at Emily's house, the kids greet me at the door with a mix of curiosity and excitement. Her son, Max, sizes me up like he's interviewing me for a job, while her daughter, Chloe, launches into a rapid-fire rundown of her latest science project. Emily stands in the background, watching with an amused smile. "Looks like you've passed the first test," she says as we head to the kitchen. Dinner is a chaotic, laughter-filled affair. Max insists on showing me his latest gaming setup. while Chloe quizzes me on everything from favorite foods to dream vacations. Emily watches it all unfold with a quiet satisfaction, her eyes sparkling in a way that makes me realize how much lighter she seems these days. After the kids head upstairs, Emily and I sit on the couch, a bottle of wine between us. The conversation turns to deeper topics, our dreams, our fears, and the unexpected twists that brought us here. "Do you ever think about what life would have been like if none of this had happened?" she asks, swirling her wine. I nod. Sometimes. But honestly, I think it's better this way. I've learned more about myself in the past year than I did in the previous 10. She smiles. Me too. Funny how life works, huh? Funny isn't the word I'd use, I say, chuckling. But yeah, I get what you mean. As the evening winds down, Emily walks me to the door. There's a moment of hesitation, a flicker of unspoken understanding between us. Then she steps forward and hugs me, a little longer, a little closer than before. "Thanks for tonight," she says softly. "It meant a lot." "Anytime," I reply, my voice steady but my heart pounding. As I drive home, I can't help but wonder if this connection with Emily is leading to something more. I'm not sure what I'm ready for, but I do know one thing. I haven't felt this alive in years. The next morning, as I'm finishing my coffee, my phone buzzes with another message from Emily. "How do you feel about a weekend road trip?" "Just us. No pressure, just some time to clear our heads and explore." I stare at the message, a slow smile spreading across my face. This could be the beginning of something new, something I didn't expect but might finally be ready for. The idea of a road trip is both exciting and terrifying. A weekend away with Emily means stepping into uncharted territory. But as I stare at her message, I realize there's no hesitation in my decision. I type back, "Count me in. Where are we headed?" Her response comes quickly, "How about the mountains?" There's a quiet cabin I know. No distractions, just peace and fresh air. 2 days later, we're packed and on the road. The drive is filled with easy conversation, laughter, and a playlist she insists on curating. She introduces me to music I've never heard before, and I do the same for her. By the time we reach the cabin, I feel like we've known each other for years. The cabin is tucked away in a secluded area, surrounded by towering trees and the crisp scent of pine. As we unpack, I notice how natural everything feels. No awkwardness, no tension, just two people enjoying each other's company. The first evening, we sit by the fire, sharing stories about our pasts. She talks about her childhood, her dreams, and the moments that shaped her. I open up about my struggles after Amanda, the nights I thought I'd never recover. She listens intently, her eyes reflecting understanding and empathy. "You've come a long way, Kevin," she says softly. "I can see it in the way you carry yourself now. You're stronger than you think." Her words strike a chord in me, and for the first time, I let myself believe them. "So have you," I reply. "It's not easy to rebuild after what we've been through, but you've done it." That night, as I lie in the guest room staring at the ceiling, I realize something profound. This weekend isn't just about getting away. It's about moving forward, about daring to trust again. The next morning, we hike a trail that winds through the mountains, the scenery breathtaking in its beauty. Emily walks ahead, her laughter echoing through the trees as she points out quirky shapes in the rocks and names of plants I've never noticed before. At the summit, we pause to take in the view, a sweeping panorama of valleys and distant peaks. She sits on a boulder, her face lit with the kind of serenity I've rarely seen. "This is what I needed," she says, her voice quiet. A reminder that there's still so much beauty in the world. I sit beside her, the words tumbling out before I can stop them. And there's still so much to look forward to. She turns to me, her expression unreadable for a moment, then she smiles, a warm, genuine smile that feels like the sun breaking through clouds. That evening, as the fire crackles in the hearth, the conversation takes a more personal turn. She leans closer, her voice soft. "Kevin, can I ask you something?" "Anything," I reply. "Do you ever think about what's next for you? Not just in life, but in love?" I hesitate, searching for the right words. "I think about it more now than I used to," I admit. "But it's hard to imagine trusting someone again. Hard to imagine letting someone in. She nods, her eyes searching mine. I feel the same way. But sometimes, I think the risk is worth it. There's a silence between us, heavy but not uncomfortable. Then, almost without thinking, I reach out and take her hand. She doesn't pull away. Instead, her fingers tighten around mine. Maybe it is, I say quietly. The moment lingers, a fragile connection that feels like the beginning of something neither of us fully understands yet. And for the first time, I don't feel afraid. I feel ready. The drive back from the cabin is quieter than the drive there, but it's a comfortable silence. Emily and I don't need words to fill the space between us anymore. There's an unspoken understanding, a feeling that something shifted during our weekend away. As we wind through the mountain roads, she glances at me and smiles. Thanks for coming with me. I didn't realize how much I needed this. Me too, I reply, returning her smile. It's been a long time since I felt this grounded. We don't talk about what happened at the cabin, not explicitly. The way her hand lingered in mine, the softness in her eyes when we looked at the view together. But the memory of it is there, and it's enough for now. When we reach her house, the kids are waiting on the porch, waving excitedly as we pull into the driveway. I help carry her bags inside, and Max immediately starts peppering me with questions about the trip. Did you see any bears? He asks, wide-eyed. Not this time, I say, chuckling. But we saw some tracks. Maybe next time. Next time? Emily teases, raising an eyebrow. I shrug, smiling. If you're up for it. As I leave, Chloe gives me a quick hug, and Emily walks me to the car. Thanks again, Kevin, she says. For everything. You don't have to thank me, I reply. This is what friends are for. Her smile falters slightly, but she recovers quickly. Yeah, friends. As I drive away, I replay her expression in my mind. There was something there. Disappointment, maybe? Or hesitation. Either way, I know I need to figure out where I stand, not just with Emily, but with myself. Over the next week, life returns to its usual rhythm. Work, workouts, and evenings spent tackling projects around the house. But Emily is never far from my thoughts. Every time my phone buzzes, I find myself hoping it's her. And when it is, there's a flicker of something I haven't felt in years. Anticipation. Finally, one evening, I decide to stop overthinking and take a chance. I text her, dinner this weekend? My treat. Just us. Her reply comes almost instantly. I'd love that. When and where? We settle on Saturday at a quiet Italian place downtown. The day can't come fast enough, and when it finally does, I feel a mix of nerves and excitement that I haven't felt since my first dates years ago. Emily looks stunning when I pick her up, simple but elegant, her smile as radiant as ever. At the restaurant, the conversation flows as easily as ever, but there's an added layer of something unspoken. The way her eyes linger on mine, the way her laughter seems just a little softer. After dinner, we take a walk through the city, the night alive with the hum of people and lights. At one point, we stop at a small park, the fountain in the center sparkling under the streetlights. Kevin, she says, turning to me, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Of course, I say, meeting her gaze. What are we doing here? She asks softly. Are we just friends? Or is this something more? Her words hang in the air, and for a moment, I'm frozen. But then I remember the cabin, the hand-holding, the unspoken connection. I take a deep breath. I think it's something more, I admit, and I think I'm ready to see where it goes. Her smile is slow but genuine, and she steps closer. Me too. As we stand there, the city buzzing around us, I realize something profound. This isn't just about moving on, it's about moving forward. And for the first time in years, I feel ready to take that step. The night at the park feels like a turning point. As Emily and I walk back to the car, the air between us feels lighter, warmer, filled with a quiet understanding. We don't say much on the drive back to her house, but her hand rests on the center console, close enough to brush against mine. I take it, intertwining our fingers, and neither of us says a word. When I pull into her driveway, I turn off the engine but make no move to get out. Emily looks at me, her expression unreadable. You okay? She asks, her voice soft. Yeah, I say, nodding. Just thinking. About what? I hesitate, then decide to be honest. About how strange and unexpected this all is, and how right it feels. Her smile is small but genuine. I know what you mean. It's scary, isn't it? Letting someone in again. Terrifying, I admit. But I think it's worth it. She leans in, and I meet her halfway. The kiss is gentle, unhurried, but it carries the weight of everything we've been through. The heartbreak, the healing, the hope. When we pull back, her cheeks are flushed, and her smile is brighter than I've ever seen it. "You want to come in?" she asks, her voice barely above a whisper. I nod, and we step inside. The house is quiet, the kids already asleep, and the only sound is the soft hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Emily pours us each a glass of wine, and we sit on the couch, the glow of the table lamp casting a warm light over the room. We talk for hours, about everything and nothing. She tells me about her dreams for the future, her fears, her hopes for her kids. I tell her about my plans to expand my business, my newfound love for running, and my determination to never let the past define me. As the clock ticks past midnight, she rests her head on my shoulder, and I feel a peace I haven't felt in years. This isn't just a moment. It's the beginning of something real, something worth holding on to. When I finally leave, the night is cool and quiet, the stars scattered across the sky. As I drive home, I realize I'm no longer haunted by Amanda or the pain she caused. Instead, I'm focused on what's ahead, and for the first time in a long time, I feel excited about the future. The next morning, Emily sends me a message. "Thank you for last night. I haven't smiled like that in years." I reply, "Me neither. Let's not let it be the last." Her response is immediate. "Deal." In the weeks that follow, Emily and I grow closer. We take things slow, both of us cautious but committed to building something real. Her kids warm up to me quickly, and I find myself looking forward to the chaos of their laughter and the endless questions they pepper me with. One evening, as we're sitting on her back porch watching the sunset, she turns to me. "Kevin, do you ever think about what comes next? For us?" I take her hand in mine, my thumb brushing over her knuckles. "I don't have all the answers," I say honestly, "but I know one thing. I want to figure it out with you." Her smile is radiant, and she squeezes my hand. That's all I needed to hear. The weeks turn into months, and the rhythm of my life with Emily feels as natural as breathing. We find joy in the everyday moments, family dinners with her kids, weekend hikes, even quiet nights on the couch watching old movies. The walls I built after Amanda's betrayal are slowly coming down, brick by brick, and for the first time in a long time, I feel whole. Emily's kids have embraced me in a way I didn't expect. Max constantly challenges me to video games, and Chloe has taken to asking me for advice on her school projects. They don't see me as a replacement for their father, but as an addition to their lives, and that's more than I could have hoped for. One Saturday afternoon, Emily and I are at the park with her kids. Max is flying a kite, and Chloe is trying to teach me how to properly throw a frisbee. Emily watches from a bench, her laughter echoing across the field as my attempts end in spectacular failure. "You're terrible at this," Chloe teases, her grin mischievous. "Hey, I'm learning," I reply, laughing. "Give me a few more tries." Emily joins us, taking the frisbee from Chloe and showing me the right technique. As we practice, I can't help but marvel at how natural this all feels. The weight of my past has been replaced by the lightness of this new beginning. Later that evening, after the kids are in bed, Emily and I sit on the back porch, a glass of wine in each of our hands. The stars are bright, the night air crisp, and the silence between us is comfortable. "I've been thinking," she says, breaking the quiet. "About us." "What about us?" I ask, turning to look at her. She hesitates for a moment, then takes a deep breath. "I want this to be more than just something casual. I want us to build something real, Kevin. Something that lasts." Her words take me by surprise, but in the best way. I set my glass down and take her hand, my gaze steady. "I've wanted that too. I've just been waiting for the right time to say it." Her smile is soft, but her eyes glisten with emotion. "So, where do we go from here?" I think about it for a moment, then smile. "We take it one day at a time. but we do it together. She leans in, and our lips meet in a kiss that feels like a promise of a future we're ready to build together. As the weeks go by, our relationship deepens. Emily introduces me to her extended family, and I begin to weave her and her kids into my own circle of friends. Life feels full again, brimming with hope and possibility. One evening, as we're sitting on the porch watching the sunset, Max and Chloe come outside, their faces alight with excitement. "Mom, Kevin," Chloe says, holding up a drawing. "We made this for you." It's a picture of the four of us, hand-drawn and colored with care. Above the figures, in Chloe's neat handwriting, are the words, "Our family." Emily's eyes well up with tears, and I feel my throat tighten. I kneel down, taking the picture from Chloe and Max. "This is the best gift I've ever gotten," I say, my voice thick with emotion. "Does this mean you're staying forever?" Max asks, his expression hopeful. I glance at Emily, and she nods, her smile reassuring. "Yeah," I say, looking back at him. "I'm not going anywhere." Months later, life has settled into a rhythm that feels as natural as it is fulfilling. Emily and I have built a partnership rooted in trust and understanding, one that feels unshakable. Her kids have become an integral part of my life, their energy and humor filling every corner of the house. My own scars, once raw and consuming, are now faint reminders of a past that no longer defines me. One quiet Sunday morning, we gather for breakfast. Chloe is busy explaining her latest school project, and Max is engrossed in a debate about whether waffles are superior to pancakes. Emily sits beside me, her hand resting lightly on mine. The sunlight streaming through the windows bathes the room in a warm glow, and for the first time in years, I feel complete. After breakfast, we decide to take a walk in the nearby woods. The crisp air carries the scent of pine, and the kids race ahead, laughing and shouting as they explore. Emily and I stroll behind them, her arm linked through mine. "Have you ever thought about what forever looks like?" she asks suddenly, her tone thoughtful. I stop walking and turn to her, my heart thudding in my chest. "I think about it every day," I admit, "and it always looks like this. Like us." Her smile is radiant, and for a moment, we simply stand there, the world around us fading into the background. Then, almost without thinking, I reach into my pocket and pull out a small velvet box. Her eyes widen as I open it, revealing a simple but elegant ring. "Emily," I say, my voice steady despite the rush of emotions. "You've given me a second chance at love, at life. I can't imagine a future without you. Will you marry me?" For a heartbeat, the world seems to hold its breath. Then she nods, tears streaming down her face. "Yes," she whispers. "1,000 times, yes." The kids come running back, their excitement turning into wide-eyed wonder as they see the ring and hear the news. Chloe squeals with joy, while Max tries to play it cool but can't hide his grin. "Does this mean Kevin's officially part of the family now?" Chloe asks. Emily pulls me close, her smile brighter than the sun. "It means he always was." As we walk back to the house, the laughter of the kids echoing around us, I feel a sense of peace I never thought I'd find again. The road to this moment wasn't easy. It was filled with pain, betrayal, and hard choices. But it led me here, to a life filled with love, hope, and possibility. And for the first time, I know without a doubt that the best is yet to come. Have you ever faced betrayal and found a way to rebuild your life? Share your story in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you overcame it. Don't forget to like this story, subscribe for more tales of resilience and justice, and share it with someone who might need a reminder that brighter days are always ahead. Together, we rise stronger.